originally, my family moved from Iowa to Central Valley of California, where I was raised in a very different climate.
And I was fortunate enough to come to Colorado every summer to do hiking and backpacking and mountaineering. We were married in 1982. 1983 and 1984, I had a contract with the Colorado Natural Heritage Inventory, where I flew every river in the state and videotaped each of the rivers to create a repository of what it was like then. Jane and I moved to Castle Rock in 1986 because we were focused on raising our family in an area that had real beauty and clean air.
Soon after we moved here, Douglas County put on a workshop, a set of workshops, I believe, through the county, and invited citizens to come and talk about what should Douglas County look like? And, how are we going to grow? We figured we are going to grow. How should we do that? What are the issues and what are our goals? What is our vision? And I had the experience with the Nature Conservancy, so I knew something about conservation easements and land trusts. So I brought up the idea of the concept of a land trust. And they kind of, we talked about it and said, that's what we should do. And we put together the Articles of Incorporation and the bylaws and started DLC in 1987. The early years of DLC, the easements we took were donations of property owners who wanted to see their lands preserved, and that's always been the case. We always work with willing landowners. That's an absolute requirement. They want to do this and see their lands preserved for future generations. I've had the joy of watching how DLC has evolved and partnered with other land trusts who are also in this area and making, I think, a successful network of open spaces for people, but for wildlife and for all of our conservation values. But to me, some of the hidden jewels are knowing that we have conservation easements over some properties that are contiguous to each other, and that's where our elk are going to migrate. The bear can cross under I-25 because of the wildlife-friendly culverts and things that are available, and so they can move around. The bighorn sheep are still able to move. So those smaller properties are still jewels because they accomplish that connectivity and the health of the overall landscape. We have been very proactive about trying to get people out on properties through hikes and through nature talks and through walks and photography opportunities. And so to help integrate people into that conservation experience.
My real work started in conservation on the Castle Rock Town Council when we dedicated the first open space piece in the town of Castle Rock, Memon Ridge. I was lucky enough to be the mayor right then, so I got to make nice comments about the work that council members had done before me to set up the deal that we could pull the trigger on to actually make the acquisition of that open space. And then that blossomed in a perspective that we've been able to carry through on the last 30 years of conserving land for the future. My career allowed me to do 30 plus years of volunteer service, which is where I've really focused conservation efforts as a member of Castle Rock Town Council, water boards across the county, and then 17 years on the Soil Conservation District Board. I then went on to other volunteer activities. Now the Board of County Commissioners was my first non-volunteer elected official job. We have almost 80 properties in open space in Douglas County. What's interesting to understand is land conservation results in water conservation for the future.
We need to conserve our resources, and we need to preserve their ability to help sustain life on this earth.
future conservationists should have the perspective of looking back to see what the journey has been.
Recognize the tools that were used and be willing to take those same tools and adapt them to the future.
It's a great outcome when we are able to turn over this program to coming generations. We have to have space for people to get back to nature and to recreate and understand what we have in this world.
Let's work to keep what we have and make it even better.